Yo,
Right.
back in the building, man. It's your boy, Faraj. I'm here with my man E. Got the suit on today, man.
That's how we do it.
Suit.
VIP.
VIP.
That's how we set.
And then we got another one of our ISI brothers in the building.
The man in the house.
All right, Lanre.
Lanre.
Aguilashaw in the building.
I'll guy himself, Mr.
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Yeah, the guy hopped on the flight. Mr. Coast to Coast. He's out in LA right now. And he was like, yo, I'll be through Philly. So if y'all need me, come through. And I said, we need him. We need him.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here,
How
man.
you feeling, man?
I'm positive.
That's what matters.
Just good. Just
That's all that matters.
It's an interesting season, life, and yeah, man, just taking it day by day.
Yeah, life can always be interesting, man. So you know how we do it here. We like to start off with the word just a little bit, and then we jump into highlighting what Lanre is doing, our guests for the day, and then we talk about our goals for the week, what we've achieved, and what we plan to do. And this is actually, you see a Christmas tree right there, a reason for the season. It's a good time to start getting your goals in order. You know what I'm saying? So we'll talk a little bit about that, but. Right now, I did catch the live stream, you know what I'm saying, and that counts. Y'all know that from last week. Tuned into Life Church, and the message was good. It didn't necessarily resonate or hit with me, but it was a good message. Sometimes, you just need food. You just need food. No matter what kind of food it is, you just need food, right? So got the food. They were talking about surrendering, and one of the things they talked about was just like surrendering is not giving up, but it's letting go, right? Learning how to let go of things. Right. So there are some things that we all need to let go, some things we need to hold on to. But give it to God, and it's probably the best way to go about it. So it was a light message for me, you know what I'm saying? So but I got some word in. You know what I'm saying? What about you, Larry? I know you drove out to West Hampton.
I think that's it. West Hampton. I went to Change Church.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm
pulling it.
put anything on blast, but it was interesting. Like this is like, what you want church? This is what happened at Change Church. I don't want to do that. But it was I went to the service today. If Change Church is listening, today is December. What's it? 11. What's it? 11 at West Hampton campus. There were some technical difficulties, but I don't know dude's name. Homie got up on the stage. And he was just talking about he gave like a testimony, and he was like, sometimes like there's a detour when you expect God to when you expect something to happen as like business as usual, God might just like flip that on his head and like give you what you really need, right? So things that you might think might not be good, God could use it. Might be using that for a reason. And so he just gave his testimony, and that was just like really good. He was talking about how like he had a stroke, like I'm guessing 6 months ago, just based off context clues. But then like he was like, "Yo, I'm talking on the mic right now," and like praise me up. So it was just like I haven't been to church in a while, so just being in the presence, right? So maybe it wasn't like business as usual. There was like a word, but it was just like there was worship going on, and there was praise, and there was testimony. I think, and that's church too, So I was fed.
No, that's awesome. I think that's how God does, right? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just that little one message, him sharing his testimony, could have been what people needed. You know what I'm saying? Interesting enough, my dad had a stroke back in '98, and he came out a better man. You know what I'm saying? So some things sometimes, like you said, to your point, things happen for a reason we may not know, but in the future we know why, right? Yeah. Hopefully. Good stuff, man. Thanks for sharing. What about you, E?
Yep. No, it's fantastic. I think like you guys were just sharing. It's kind of cool how all these things connect, right? You talked about just service. You talked about just, that whole connection about why God does things. We don't always understand it. But today's service was really kind of bringing all that back to the square basics, right, of purpose. And I know we've always talked about purpose. Throughout this entire year, it's always, what is our purpose, really? It's not really just about our purpose. It's really, what is God's purpose for us, right? And if we're living in our purpose, really ultimately God's purpose, obviously we're not going to struggle, right? We were designed to really be, God's favorite, right? He designed us for every single specific peculiar reason, right? And today's sermon was really just reminding us of that. And and Pastor used an example that was pretty fantastic. Like if we build a house, right? You go build a house, you don't build the house and then decide to use it for whatever, right? So you don't build a house and then decide, oh, I'm going to make this a hospital.
Yeah.
Or you don't build a house or think, I'm going to make this a church, right? You already ordained what you're going to do with that house before you build it, right? So we were designed,
That's
right?
good. That's good.
Right? So we were designed to be something, right? Before we even got made in the first place, or got created, right? God designed us to be, each and every one of us, to be a blessing in some fashion, right? And to ultimately fulfill His purpose. So it was really just going back to the basics, and I thought it was profound, because we always say, we're here to dominate. We're made in this own image. We're a royal priesthood. We're a chosen generation, right? And it was just reminding us to just align ourselves with that purpose, right? And once we find that, I mean, really, the sky's the limit, right? So again, it's just life of service, man. Life of service. We all have that thing inside every one of us, and it's like everyone has their own race, right? It's like run your race. We keep saying that. Stay in your lane, run your race, because it's meant for Falaje, it's meant for Aura, it's meant for me, right? Run your race, because we're that special, and I think it's important to always remind ourselves of that. So yeah, that's really it, man.
Yo, you said a lot, man. You said a lot in those little, in that little 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know what it is, but purpose is big. We'll have a whole session on that, man. Because I think so many people are walking around trying to find their purpose and get frustrated, right? I think in my journey, probably a year ago, I did a session how I was so frustrated on purpose, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a lot we can talk about there. But I love what you talked about. I love how you said our purpose, right? So our purpose, and you said ultimately God's purpose, but us and God are one, so it's our purpose, right? Correct. So I think that was pretty hot too, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love how you drop those gems. And then again, man, so many people are running other people's races, bro.
Yep, that's right.
You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win running somebody else's race. When they call you up to the starting line and you're not there, and they shoot the gun, you lost, bro.
It's hard not to do that though.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. And this is what I love about the show. We don't know what we're gonna talk about. We just get on here. And
I had to say that. Like, it's so hard not to run other people's races because, like, you talking about it in the car. You know what I mean? Like, what if my purpose is to be the best farmer in the world? Right. And I don't know what farmers make. I'm just thinking maybe they don't make a lot of money. Maybe they just they don't live the most gratifying life. Maybe it's gratifying, but it's not the most splashy life, right? And they know, man, I'm just really good at being a farmer, man. Like, it's in my blood. I can tell you what seed to put in the soil. I can tell you how much water is necessary just by looking at it. This is what I'm built for. But then they hop on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Then they on Instagram. Right. Then it's all right. I mean, I guess I'm good at being a farmer, but
I want to do real estate.
I want because I see all these real estate cats yeah, man, I just made 90 grand on this flip like that, and then they're maybe I should be doing real estate. And now you go way over, way left. And it's just the eyes, man, and this is comparison. So it's hard to stay in your own race, man. It's just because I think we painted certain specific things I feel like God sees everything as equal, but we've made certain things worth more. You know what I mean? And because we do that, now we're all pointing towards this thing that we may not even need to be pointing to, But it's just hard.
Well, I love you brought that up, man. And I think that's why it's important to have a connection with the Father too, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have that connection, or at least trying to pursue that connection, that noise out there you're gonna be so distracted, right? You know what I'm saying? It's funny. I heard this quote too. This was Pastor Miles, the late Miles Monroe, and he was like, "Yo, the devil is chilling right now. He don't even have to get cats with sin like pornography. He don't got to get you with, the regular stuff, right? He just is chilling because everybody's too distracted, right? Everybody's too busy, right?" Yeah. So no, I love what you said. I mean, it's hard though. It's hard. I wish I had an answer on just this is how you run your own race. But I guess, to your point, I will say this though. I will say, I love the fact that you came in with the IG distractions. But if there's something that's burning in your heart to do, you know what I'm saying? I think most likely you know, and obviously it's a virtuous thing, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I think God has equipped you or will equip you with everything you need to get it done, right?
Correct.
And also, if it's his ultimate design, I think that the fulfillment of it is going to far exceed. You know what I'm saying? If you did something else, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Exactly.
that's just my thoughts. But no, that's good, man.
What are some hints or some beliefs that or confirmations that okay, this is what God wants me to do. This is that desire. What if it's how do you even know that that desire is a pure desire or a good desire? And it's not influenced by what you've seen, what you've heard, or what you've like experienced. You know what I'm saying?
I would say it's first of all, it's I think God speaks in many ways, right? So I think it's if you get in the Word and just be limit some of the noise, like you were just talking about those distractions, right? I think the more we try to limit ourselves from that, I think
Yeah.
the more we hear Him, and we could, I think, get a clearer vision. Um, but I also think, you know, and this is another example that I learned from a sermon today. Um, that's substance is best released when it's squeezed, when there's pressure, right? So you know, so when you're out there trying to find your purpose and you're trying to navigate and understand where you truly are going, um, I feel like if things are easy, I don't think that's usually it, right? Because that's just God's design. You know, he didn't design us because we tend to become complacent. That's human. Right? Humans tend to become complacent when things are going well, right? So we just think, oh, you know what? I don't need to struggle. You know, I've made it, and eventually we kind of fall off, right? You just get complacent. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? His design usually is always to become the best version of ourselves. Like you said, Falaji, right? This year, my race is to become better than I was last year, right? Not better than Falaji was or Lanre was. Is what did I do last year? What have I done this year to separate me from that, to get me to that next level, right? So, so as long as I'm trending in the right direction in my lane, right, and you stay connected, I think you'll see that. And not saying there's going to be struggles or there's not going to be any constraints. There is going to be a constraint, right? And I think that's how you kind of know because when you have pressure, God has designed us that way to have to have those to kind of sharpen us, right, and just make us become better by giving us those pressures and giving us those struggles to just make us stronger, right? So I feel like the more you see those, it's more of a more of a wake up call, like, hey, I may be actually trending in the right direction, right? But it's hard. I know. I get it. Right? It's hard. It's hard because you want to know am I being steered in the right direction? And I just think the more you stay connected and limit those distractions, it helps us. It helps navigate.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and that's a great
Yeah.
question, Larry. Too, it's a great question. So I think a couple things just to add on and build on what you said. I think that just as a father, right? If I
Yeah.
have a son, right, and I see my son going off course,
Yep.
I'm going to course correct. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So we got to have trust that God is going to course correct us if we're going down the
Yep.
wrong path. But to your point, I love what you said. Like, yo, if you don't know what your purpose is, just go hard. Like, just go hard and become better. Become the
Yep.
better person that you can be, or the best person you can be about best versions. And then just trust, right? So, I ain't gonna lie. I think that I'm in my purpose. I've figured out what it is I believe that I should be doing, and I'm gonna go hard, right?
Yep.
The other thing too, great book by Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field, right? He talked about how people's purposes can change in seasons, right?
Yep.
So he talked about this one guy who was he was man, I forget his name, but he basically started a program for where people that didn't have much money could get into college, right? So, but that was what he did at some point. But then before then, he was like a clergyman, and before then, he was doing something else. So it's like your purpose can change, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you just have to believe what it is, if that's what you think it is, pray on it, and then just go hard. You know what I'm saying?
You just blew my mind or something. I think we have like just this collective thought that God has designed only one thing for us to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
okay, I made you to do this one thing for your whole life, but it could, like, wow. So we put God in so many boxes, man. Because what if God is like, yo, actually, I want you to do this from 10 to 15. then from 15 to 25, this is what I wanted you to do. And then I'm like, that blows my mind because it's like, it actually gives more freedom if you think about it.
Exactly.
You're like, yo, like God could use me many different ways. I don't only have to be like
that's correct.
Going to a farmer for 60 years. Like God, you know, like I'm trying to think of like biblical examples, but
no, I love what you said, and I think it kind of goes back to what we've said. I think you brought this up in one of our sessions that I think that's why we have to enjoy the process, trust the process, right? Because to me, that's because as you navigate to that final, main purpose that you were destined for. Well, there was a reason and there's a route to that, right? So that's God's design. So so just because you're not there, it doesn't mean that where you are today isn't as important as it is, right? Because the process itself is just as critical, probably even more critical than that final destination.
Yeah.
Because it's those people around and those people that you impact that are impacting you. Yeah. Again, it's like He made us to be fishers of men, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, that's really what He commanded His disciples to do. To go out and be fishers. I mean, that's pretty much His last words He said before He ascended, right? Yeah. Is that ultimate purpose. Because the ultimate purpose is win souls, right? To me, that's really the end result. Is right. Sure? Yeah. Everything else is just trivial, right? Everything else just aligns us. But that was kind of why we're here, is to kind of win souls back to God, right? So it's just how we navigate that, But yeah, it's deep, man. Good questions.
I appreciate you, man. Any other thought-provoking questions from Mr. Deanu himself? You know what I'm saying? We got to get into that segment, man. This cat is crushing the game, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Man. You know that was going to come up.
Yeah. You're really good at like bigging people up, man. You're encouraging.
Yeah, man. That's iron sharpens iron, man.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good conversation. So we was out in Philly, and I'm going to look at some properties to invest in and stuff, and we just started talking, man. We talking about, funny enough, on our men's call, I threw it out there about, preferences on women. Right?
Oh, okay.
I did. I threw it out there because I wanted to know, right? And
to everybody, I missed that session. I missed. Right?
He was out with the family on vacation.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was a good one because something in me was just like, I gotta ask these guys: do they prefer Nigerian chicks? Do they prefer African American, Latino, Caucasian? And we just went around, and I'm not going to share. Y'all got to join the calls if y'all want to know the details. But it was just interesting, man, how how the brothers just thought, and everybody's response was different.
Right, of course.
So it's all good. But anyhow, just
awesome.
Just wanted to talk about that. Again, man, y'all need some support, encouragement. You need to be around sharp folks like these cats right here. DM us, man. So let's highlight this guy. This is the next segment, man.